Today our topic is switch statement, which is normally known as switch command as well. This is one of the conditional or control statements that is used in the programming languages, in variety of languages, and C++ is one of those languages. Let's discuss the detail of how a switch statement actually works. Basically, switch statement represents a multi-way expression that results in a constant value. For example, if there is a variable which has some value, and if that value matches to one of the case given here, there are 1, 2, 3 and 4 cases. So if the value of multi-expression matches the value 1, so action 1 will perform. However, if it does not match the value 1 to the expression, multi-way expression, so then the processing part will come to the value 2, and this value 2 will be compared with the expression value. So if both are if both the values are similar, then the action 2 will perform. Otherwise, the execution will move toward value 3, this case, and this case will be taken and will be compared with the value of multi-way expression. So if it matches, so action 3 will perform. And in the similar way, if value 1, value 2 and value 3 do not match with the multi-way expression, then the value 4 will be compared with multi-way expression. And if its value matches with the multi-value expression, this one, so action 4 will perform. In all the cases when the actions are being performed, then the execution will come to the end of the switch statement. Let's explain in more detail. This is the syntax of multi-way expression, multi-selection, that is switch statement. In switch statement, first of all, you must write switch, SWITCH, and you know that C++ is case sensitive language. So all the alphabet in switch are in smaller case. So SWITCH is a reserved keyword. You must write it as it is. Then you shall introduce the parenthesis, the open parenthesis and the closing parenthesis. Okay, and in between these parentheses you must introduce the selector expression, the multi-way expression, the multiple expression, which will result in a value. So let's see, this can be a variable as well. Variable. I'm sorry, I'm using the mouse pad of my laptop, so I'm not very used to this. Variable. So you can just imagine how it is difficult. I'm sorry. Variable. So this variable will be controlled here, and the value of variable, and that value will be later on compared with label 1, label 2 and label n. So we will come on this how it compares the values. So in the syntax, we shall introduce the body of switch statement. So the open curly braces and the closing curly braces must be introduced to introduce the body of switch statement. Okay, and then the in the body, for this is the body, in this body you shall introduce some cases, and default is optional that can be introduced. So case is a reserved keyword, CAC, and it should be written in small alphabets. Then there should be a constant which is known as label. So this label is the expected value of the variable. You can say this is variable, the expected value of the variable. So if this expected value matches with the value of this variable, so this case will be executed. But we remember to introduce the colon. Colon is the syntax to introduce the case. Case space label and then colon, and then you can introduce the C++ statements, the business logic that you want to implement here. So it can be multiple line of statements or single line of statements. Even you can call functions here in this sequence of statements. Here you can see that every case is stopped by the break statement. You can see this is the first case, the break with first case, this break is with the second case, and this case break is with the third case. So it means that whenever our label 1, the case 1, get executed and processed after matching its value with variable, the selector expression, then the sequence of statements will execute this line. So after executing these statements, the execution must be stopped here, and the execution shall jump outside of the block of switch statement. So break actually stopped the execution and jumped the execution outside of the block of the switch statement. Now you can see the default here. Default is introduced when you have multiple cases but no case matches with the selector expression. So the default is a default expression that executes after no matching of the no label and no case. So default will execute in that case. So default is a reserved keyword which should be introduced as it is, and then the colon is compulsory. It is the syntax of the C++ language or any other language that supports the same syntax. And then you can introduce in a very similar way the sequence of the statements, the C++ statements, just like these statements in other cases. So this default also works like the else statement in with the if else statement, the else. So if condition does not get true, or succeeded. So then else statement get executed. So similarly, if no cases become executed or get matched with the selector expression, then the default will execute and the statements in the default will be executed. Okay, so actually the switch statement evaluate the selector expression inside the bracket. This is the selector expression, this one. You can see this one, the selector expression. The selector expression can only be a bool value. Okay, remember, can be an integer or constant, enum constant. These are the enumeration, which is constant values. So remember that these can be constant or character for the time being. So actually here in switch statement matches the case label or matches exactly. So there is no relational operator, the concept of the relational operator which can be used in the switch statement, for example larger than or smaller than. No, the relational operator like equal is implemented in the switch statement, although we are not using the equal operator in the switch statement, but the concept behind the equal operator is implemented in the switch statement. So where if the selector expression becomes equal to the label of any case, so that case will be executed. So this is exactly the the concept of the equal relational operator. If we see a break, if the execution see a break statement in the block of switch statement, then it means that the execution shall go to the end of the switch statement or stop the execution of the switch statement and jump outside of the switch statement. And if there is no break statement, so it means that continue the execution in the preceding statements, even the preceding cases as well. So we will discuss this point in detail in our example as well. This is another visualization of the switch statement where the flow of the control, you can see here, flow of the control, flow of the execution comes through this pipe, and first it will see and check the case. If it matches, so this, if it matches, so this action will be performed. Okay, and if it does not matches, then the execution will come through this pipeline straight away to this pipeline. In this case, the second case will be matched. If it matches the second case, so execution will come to the action 2. You can see here. So you can see that. Okay, so let's discuss the first case. So this is the case 1, and if case 1 get executed, so it means that the action with case 1 will executed, and the execution will come through directly to the action 2, similarly to the action 3, and in very similar way to the action 4. So it means that all the actions will be performed and executed irrespective of their case labels, because we do not introduce any break here. There is no break there is no break, there is no break, there is no break, so the execution will come through all labeling cases. However, if the first case does not matches, then the second case will be matches will match the second one. And in the second one, if it matches, for example, this one, so you will see that the action will be performed for the second case, this one, then the control will come to the action, this one, and in the similar way to the last action. So all the actions will be performed just below, just inside the case 2, that is case 3, and as well as the default statement, which is the last one. Similar way in the case 3 and the default as well. So if no case get matches, so it means that if no, just remove it and let me visualize it, that if no match gets succeeded, not with this one, it does not matches, not with this one even, and do not with this one. So by default it will come here, and this is the default statement, so it does not need any label. So without any label and constraint, the execution will straight away come to the last action, and this will execute in either case. Okay. This is the example of grading the marks, the obtained marks. So if this is a very small example, number 1, in which the score obtained are being coded here. This, you can see that a such statement has been used while the expression, the multiple expression, or the variable, or this statement has been given, which will result in integer value. Okay, remember, this will result in integer value. So score shall be declared first. Okay, so you can declare score, the integer score, yes, here integer score, and then you can see and from the user, get input from the user of the score. And it has been divided by 10 just because to convert each 10th value into the single digit. Okay, so this was also a question of one of our students in the class, that how can we simplify the multiple 10 cases, the chunk of 10 cases into a single case. So this is how we can convert and simplify the those chunk of 10 cases into a single case. This is for the 100, this is the 90 and above. Okay, this is for 80 and above, and this is for 70 and above, and this is for 60 and above. And if these grades are achieved, so one of these grade, so the corresponding expression, the statement will be executed. And if not, and if we get the 50 till 59, the obtained score from the user, so the default will be executed. So default will print it out the if statement. So let's see this example in the div C++ where the bit changes. This is the here you can see the grading. Okay, so we have declared the integer score, then a message has been prompt. This will prompt the user to input the value into the score, the obtained score. And then switch statement has been introduced. This is the switch statement. These are the parentheses and these are the curly braces which have been introduced. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cases introduced here. Okay, this is a bit different from the example in the slide, because we have introduced a case for the 50 and 50 above marks as well here in this. So you can see that for marks obtained marks 90 and above, we have introduced a plus grade, so it should be output a plus grade. Okay, so this is a correct statement that we have introduced here to C++. 90 and for above, and this is for the 100 value. Okay, for case 8 means 80. If we get 80 divided by 110, so we will get the an integer value. Okay, remember that whenever we divide an integer by an integer, so we will get integer always. Okay, but when you perform the division having float in one of the numerator or denominator, then the result will also be in floating point, be remember. So now in this case we have integer divided by integer, so the result will also be in integer, so the fraction value point will be discarded by the system. Okay, you can see that there is no break statement introduced and a default is also being introduced. So let's check it for the default first. So we know the default will execute on 49 less than 50 or even 0 or any other minus values. So I have entered the 49. You can see the grade F has been executed, grade F. Now I want to execute the value for grade D. Okay, so let's see again. Small window, this small size. Okay, so I want to come up with the grade D. Okay, grade D. So case 5 shall be executed. Case 5 executes from 50 to 59. Okay, I'm giving the value 50, so it shall give us grade is equal to D. Oh, but there is a problem. We can see that it has also printed the grade is equal to F. So what happens actually, that this case become true, so the statement, the expression has been executed, and we have already learned in one of our in one of our slides that after executing one case, the execution will come directly to the next statement in next case without evaluating the default or the case value. So what should we do? We shall introduce a break statement here that default should not be executed when case 5 becomes true. Okay, Okay, so this problem is now solved. Let's see. Compile and execute and check for the 50. Now you can see grade is equal to D, and we were able to control and to correct our logic here. Okay, now I want to print grade C, but how will I print? By giving the value from 60 to 69. So let's give 66. Oh, but we also get grade D. Okay, so when case 6 becomes true and it get matches with the multiway expression, this expression, so what happens? The statement is executed and the execution directly come to the next statement as well, because there was no break statement here. Okay, there was no break statement here, so the execution becomes comes here, and it executed the C++ statements in case 5 as well. Okay, but then there encountered a break statement, so the execution stopped here and the execution comes to the out of the block and to the outer statements, which is return 0. So we were succeeded to not print the default statement in the default. Let's generalize this example more by giving the value 80. So now in this case we shall see grade A, and then grade B, and then grade C, and grade D as well. Okay, I'm sorry. So grade A, grade B, C, and D. So how can we control this? By introducing the break statement with each and every case. Okay, now let's see that whether we have control or not. So it shall give us the 80 input shall give us only grade A. Yes, excellent. So you have seen this. Now there should be no grade or grade F. So grade F is normally given to the marks from 0 to 49. So 40, so the default has been executed. You can see here grade is equal to F. This was in the default because no case was get matched with the value in expression of the switch statement. This was a very small example to understand the concept behind the switch statement. Now let's see in the presentation here in the next example. Okay, so this example has been modified while introducing the break statement, so to control the execution inside the switch statement. This is the another example with FL. Sorry, this is the same example with FL statements. The same example with F statement. So if grade is equal to or greater than or equal to, 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 and then this one. So you can see, to understand this whole FL's F statement code for this grading criteria is a bit difficult from switch statement. Switch is very easier to understand in this case. So this can be alternatively used for the cases, for the problems, where there is a single variable involved, and we expect a number of values for that single variable. So it was a very it is a very beautiful example that can be alternatively be used. The switch statement can be alternatively used for the if-else statement. Okay, so this is another example. Character answer. Answer is a variable of type character, and see out a message, a prompt message to the user. He will or she will give the input y or n. It can be in capital or small. So we will see how capital and n can be controlled in the switch statement. Cn from the user in the answer variable, so we will get y or n in the answer. So that answer has been put in the switch expression, this switch statement, and there shall be a value in answer in this variable. So the value may be capital I or small I. For both the cases, this statement shall be executed, and the execution must be stopped after executing this statement, and execution must come outside of the block of break statement, switch statement, sorry. But if case becomes equal to n, capital N or even small n, in both the cases, see out, are you kidding, this statement will be executed. Okay, and after execution of this statement, break statement will be encountered, and the execution will jump out of the block and will come. But if no case get match with the value of answer, okay, so the default will be executed, and this statement will be printed out on the screen. Is that a yes or no? Okay, so this is the statement which will be printed on the screen. This was this example 2. Now this is example 3 that can be easily coded in the any IDE. These are some of the points that shall be remembered while while using the break statement. The expression followed by each case label must be a constant expression. Okay, whenever you introduce a case, so after case there shall be a space, and then there shall be a constant value. This should be remembered. No two cases shall have the same value. Okay, two case labels may be associated with the same statement. Two case labels like this one. Here you have seen that case y capital and case y small, these are the two cases, and there is a single statement which were associated to the both of these cases, so that can be done as well. The default label is not required, so with default you don't need to introduce any label, and it is even not required. There can be only one default. Okay, one default in switch statement can be introduced, or you are also allowed to not introduce default in the switch statement, and it is usually in the last, so must be introduced in the last in the last statement, in the last line of the switch statement. So let's see another example in the div C++, where we have coded for a calculator. The calculator is for addition, for subtraction, for multiplication, and for division, and else there is nothing. Okay, so first of all we need an operation from the user, what kind of operation he or she want to perform on the two variables. So all these three variables will be inputted from the user. So a cout message will be printed on the screen, enter operator. So these are the special character that we want from the user in the console input. So cn operator, this is the variable where we expect symbol addition, symbol subtraction, symbol multiplication, and symbol division. These are the characters. So this character, one of these character will come in from the user and will be saved in the operator variable. Now the user is asked to enter two numbers. One is number 1 and second is number 2, on which uh, that operation the user which want to perform on these two variables. So till this line we have got the um, operation that user want to perform and the two numbers on which that operation should be performed. So if operation is equal to plus, then this statement shall be executed, and this is for the addition of two numbers. Else if operation is equal to minus, this character minus character, so the subtraction operation will be performed, and actually subtraction is performing here. Okay, this is the mathematical expression now. Else if for the steric multiplication operation, so multiplication is performed in this statement, and basically this formula represents mathematical multiplication expression. Else if division, and if the user input any other character than these characters, so we don't have any if condition for other characters than the characters available in this list. So else will be executed and it will give output as error, the operator is not correct. So you can just, if you even give the and or h or 7 or any other character except plus, minus, division and multiplication. So if we give 8, so it will give error into two number, it will give the error. Okay, yes, it will give two. First it will, you need to enter two numbers 6 and 7, but the operator is not correct because we have given input it which is not operator. Okay, so let's see again. We want addition on 6 plus 7. Now you can see 6 plus 7 is equal to 13. The same example has been implemented using the switch statement, this one. Okay, the operator variable float num2, the user has been asked for the operator and the num2, the num1 and num2 variables. However, you can see that syntax is a bit changed from the if else statement. So operator has been enclosed in the expression of the switch statement, and we have introduced multiple cases. This is case for positive character, this is for negative character, this is for steric character, this is for division character, and this is the default, or you can see the equivalent to the else statement. So in plus, if this case being matched with the operator and expression in the switch statement, this C out statement will be executed, which is very similar to the statement in our previous example in the if else F statement. Okay, so if we do not introduce this break statement, if I delete it or make it comments, so what happens? It will also execute the statement in the negative case. This will also be executed. Even more, if we do not introduce this break statement, so along with addition, the subtraction, the multiplication will also be performed. Therefore, we need to control the execution part by introducing the break statement. So if positive, this addition sign has been entered by the user in operand variable, only this statement should be executed. And if user input minus, so only this statement shall be executed. And similarly the other cases as well. So let's see. If we give the operand operator 8, it will ask for 6 and 7 two variables, but the error message, the message which we have already introduced in the default will be printed out on the screen. So let's see again, and giving the minus. Okay, so I want to 6 minus 7, so it becomes -1. Okay, correct. So this is a mini calculator implemented using a switch statement. We have already seen the grading system using FL statement. Okay, this is the grading system using if else F statement, and the same is introduced using switch case. Thank you so much. I hope you have got the understanding of the switch statement and the whole phenomena of how can we use switch statement as an alternative solution and best solution when we use the if else F statement. So be remember that if we have a single variable, and we expect multiple values from that, we expect many values from that variable. So a switch statement is one of the better choice to use instead of using if else F statement. Thank you so much, and see you in our next lecture. Thank you.